Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I'm gonna start with this. Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse expects XRP SOL ADA ETFs during discussion at Consensus 2024. I said it multiple times. I'm not a fan of an XRP ETF, but if it comes, then it is what it is. I just want to see what kind of value is going to come from it. I really don't think we need it because XRP has actual use case and utility. But if it brings value, then I'm on board as well. Breaking: SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce proposes joint US-UK regulatory sandbox for crypto companies, giving them 2 years safe harbor to decentralize their blockchains. Like I said, we are going to look at global crypto regulations. That's what's coming. And, you know, people always say, well, the US is never going to go with what the EU is putting out there, or the UK. Listen, regulations have to be the same going from country to country, or cross-border payments just aren't going to work. Regulatory clarity is a flip of the switch moment. So now that we see everybody working towards regulations, all these countries, we are getting close to the flip of the switch moment. Take a listen to this.
Stuff better than the New York Stock Exchange. Isn't crypto going to kick the traditional market's ass over time, and all stock trading is going to move to digital assets markets? Sorry to ask myself a question, but it's an extension of that. and I'll stop rambling in a second. But look, that is not going to happen for a long time. I would love it if it did. Like, I've devoted my whole life to digital assets. If that happened overnight, this would go from being, you know, a relatively small industry to a gigantic industry. The issue is there still aren't trusted layer ones which can actually be the ledger themselves, which can actually be the settlement mechanism themselves, which can actually be the data repository themselves. Why? I know you're sitting there going, what the hell is he talking about? This is a digital assets conference. There's Solana, there's Cardano, there's Ethereum, the da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean trusted by regulators.
Take notice, he never mentioned XRP. And we already know we got clarity for XRP. I think we're getting close, and I think regulations are going to come down very fast when it happens. But we'll wait and see where we go from here. But every single day they're talking regulations. Tether won't be there in Europe because it's not MiCA compliant. Take a listen.
Doesn't mean that this won't change, especially as the digital euro will take some time, and there's a gap now, and somebody needs to fill the gap. So maybe they turn a blind eye and say, like, okay, let them go till we have a digital euro, or it will be just an unknown situation where, you know, Tether won't be there in Europe because it's not MiCA compliant, and some others might be also gone.
I think they're paving the way for Ripple's new stablecoin. That's my honest opinion. But even Kraken is considering dropping USDT in Europe ahead of new regulations. But these regulations, they're going to be put in place in every single country. And that's why I see Tether slowly slipping away over time. I think it's going to be like a controlled collapse of Tether. But I think Tether will most likely go towards tokenization. Let's see what happens there as well. Project Victoria, a subsection of the HKD pilot, with the HKMA, Ripple, and Fubon Bank aim to tokenize real estate properties, enabling fractional ownership and instant settlement of transactions using Ripple's CBDC platform. This streamlines the tokenization process, expedites property deals, and increases liquidity and accessibility in the real estate market. This comes from Mr. Man. And again, real estate is going to become tokenized all around the world because the real estate market is also in trouble. They're already looking for a solution to fix it, and it hasn't even popped yet. That's why everything's leaning towards the tokenization of real estate. It's nice to see Ripple going in that direction as well. Now, in countless videos, I talked about CBDCs. I always said I'm not a fan of them, and right here is why. Eva Tompkins, Esquire, believes that CBDCs could be an indicator of Revelation 13. This also comes from Mr. Mann. Revelation 13 prophesizes a future global economic system controlled by the Antichrist mark of the beast. Some Christians see parallels with CBDCs, which could enable centralized transaction monitoring and control, potentially paving the way for this prophesied system. Though interpretations vary. That's what scares the hell out of me around CBDCs. Because I'm not a religious person, but I know what the Bible says. And I even mentioned this in previous videos. And this is the reason I'm not a fan of CBDCs. One of the reasons. The other reason is, I think when they get control over people's money, they're going to come up with all kinds of crazy shit that will come next. Because if you don't comply, it doesn't matter to them. They'll just shut your money off until you do comply. Ripple and institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. David Schwartz highlights the new XRP ledger strategies at Consensus 2024. Now take a listen to what he says here, because he's also telling you that carbon credits are coming.
Any other new developments that you spoke about here at Consensus, or anything that we need to know about?
Well, we've announced a couple of other strategies for the XRP ledger. One of them is oracles, which are another example. Like the oracles themselves tend to be regulated institutions. Some of them are DeFi projects, but they enable DeFi applications that are sort of jurisdictionless, like collateralized lending. You can't do collateralized lending if you don't know the value of the collateral. We've also started to talk about a proposal for what we call multi-purpose tokens, which are so the XRP ledger has fungible tokens that are great for things like stablecoins, and it has non-fungible tokens that are great for things like collectibles. But there's sort of like an in-between for things like carbon credits, where they're sort of fungible and sort like one carbon credit is a lot like another. So you probably don't want like NFTs for them, but they're not really fungible because they're issued like against different projects that may have different regimes, and so you have like lots and lots of assets. Concert tickets are another thing. They're sort of fungible, but they're sort of not, because seats are different, and you don't want 0.997 of a concert ticket. Like, how do we let you in? Or what if we have 100 people that each have 99% of a concert ticket? Like, what do we do? And so these multi-purpose tokens can have regulatory compliance information attached to the token, but they can also have properties that are between non-fungible tokens and fungible tokens that allow you to address these other use cases without kind of bashing a square peg into a round hole.
I like the direction that they're going in with the XRP ledger, but I'm also not a fan of carbon credits. But I think David brought that up because that market is starting to grow now. It's starting to get some traction behind it. Look what's going on over there at Hedera with Dovu. Carbon credits are going to be part of the future. We all know it's coming. We might not like it, but because we're XRP holders, we will get rich off of it. This comes from Edo Farina. Arthur Brito, one of the architects of the XRP ledger, is still nowhere to be found in 2023. Very odd considering the social media era. He made the following predictions over years ago. In the future, these three complementary technologies will merge: Bitcoin, open transactions, and Ripple. Here's what he says. Open transactions will gateway our current blockchain Bitcoins in and out of open transaction Bitcoins. Open transaction Bitcoin will allow people to have instant, anonymous transactions off the blockchain. This will solve an aspect of Bitcoin scalability. Open transactions will also allow transactions using contracts and other currencies. Ripple will allow people to enter the cryptocurrency Melu without needing to use an exchange. So do you think they're going to come together and merge? I always said, the Bitcoin ETFs, they're going to become tokenized. They're going to end up running on the XRP ledger and other networks as well. But this would make sense going forward. You got to remember, the same people that created Bitcoin also created XRP. So it kind of makes sense that we go in this direction. But where would the value go? Would the value stay in Bitcoin, or will the value end up in XRP? I think if XRP is used to move Bitcoin and make it more spendable and more economic friendly, in other words, cheaper to move, faster to move, and greener to move, then I definitely think that would be the future. But I don't think we're quite there yet. David Schwartz explains Ripple's roadmap in DeFi using XRP. Take a listen to this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The idea that institutions can build things that are very strictly, very tightly regulated, things like portfolios of traditional loans that are heavily regulated, but they can interoperate with DeFi systems. So, for example, you might have a regulated lender who issues very traditional real estate or commercial loans, and then you might have tokenization of that debt that then anyone can hold in a purely DeFi system. And I think if you look at like the way systems grow, if you look at the way the internet grew, there was government and military adoption that enabled grassroots adoption that built the system. That synergy is what really builds something that can, be dominant, that can really grow. And I think we see that corner. We see the XRP ledger as being a blockchain where those kinds of use cases can really work.
I think what we're going to witness as XRP holders, once the banks gain traction with XRP, I think it's going to be a time where XRP becomes the norm inside of transactions for cross-border payments. People will use it not even knowing they're using it. And us as early adopters of XRP, early buyers of XRP, we're going to get very rich because of that. Because you could easily go and buy a decent handful of XRP right now. In the future, people will be buying pieces of XRP the same way that they buy pieces of Bitcoin today. That's what I see for the future. XRP current all-time high of $3.84 could reach $54. So there's a lot of people now saying that the total market cap of XRP is expected to reach $3 trillion. And they're saying short term that this is going to happen. I see multiple people saying this now. And I think they're basing it off of what Brad said about the total crypto market cap being 5 trillion by the end of this year. And he was being conservative, meaning he thinks it's going to go much, much higher than that. So think about it. If just $3 trillion poured into XRP, we're looking at a $54 XRP. A lot of people are even expecting it to be higher than that. That's why I said this year it's going to be a crazy year. Once XRP starts popping off and alt season begins, you're going to have so much speculation. You're going to have announcements still coming out around XRP. And I think the Ripple versus SEC case is going to end along the way as well. That could be a major catalyst for XRP. What I'm telling you is this. You look at the price right now and it's frustrating for some people, but think about what comes next. That's what I'm always focused on. I'm always focused on the growth around XRP, the way the banks are talking about XRP, the way that you see the IMF and the BIS talk about XRP, and it shows you this is the future. And the same thing with XLM. I continue buying some more and more XLM as well, because I know what's going to happen. When XRP goes, it's taking XLM with it. Now, like I said, we talked a little bit about the real estate market. Take a listen to this.
One factor that we haven't talked about yet, which I don't think is a financial stability risk, but it's nonetheless a risk to the U.S. economy and presumably to the European economy, is commercial real estate. We expect there to be big losses in the commercial real estate sector. We think we've studied it very carefully, that most banks seem like they are well positioned to handle those losses. But my experience in the financial crisis of '08 is usually there are surprises on where those losses end up, which balance sheets ultimately are exposed to those losses. And when those surprises reveal themselves, that's something else that I'm concerned about. So we're monitoring very carefully, but I also know that we're going to be surprised where some of those losses end up.
He's telling you that banks are going to fail at some point once the real estate market starts to pop. And it's going to start in commercial real estate. That was the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. And I think he's 100% right. I mean, everybody's just waiting for it to happen at this point. They even talk about it now on the mainstream media news time to time. That means we're getting close. And once that happens, that's going to be a major, major problem because it's going to domino into residential real estate. It's going to end up collapsing out some small banks that are going to get consolidated into the bigger banks. And this could be the catalyst that they also need to bring about a CBDC. That's also what scares me, because if you look at that executive order 14067, under some sort of catastrophe or emergency situation, they can push ahead with the CBDC. And if that's going to be the way they solve this problem, that's what really worries me. But again, we're not quite there yet either. A lot of things are still waiting to happen. And when you look at XRP, the reason I'm always so positive about XRP, even when it's like a red day for XRP, is because I know it's coming. And we're very close to it happening. I'm just waiting for XRP to take off, and it's going to be an exciting time ahead. But you know, until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.